Come back to Simbright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew this beautiful yoke gather dress, as you can see right there on the thumbnail. So I'll be sharing with you the tips and tricks to sewing this very well with puff sleeves, okay? So you can see the yoke is matching exactly with the basic sleeve as well. So if this is what you want to learn, I will encourage you to stay till the end of this tutorial to learn more. Thank you. A little piece of fabric you want to use for your yoke. So for me, I'm using this for my yoke. So I just put it together the first time. Then the folded part, I'll put it together like this. So this is my zipper line or button line for the yoke at 1 inch. So I'll just make a line for my zip. So I'll go ahead and make a line like this for my zip. So here will be the center back and the folded part will be the center front. So the part here is center front and this is center back. Then I'll make a border line of 1 inch. So I'm going to take my vertical measurement. By placing my tape on the border line, I'm going to mark 6 inches is the yoke line. Then I'll add half an inch. This half an inch is going to be for seam allowance. So from here, I'm going to measure 3 inches for width of neckline because it's a turtle neckline. And the depth is 1 inch. Width of front neckline is 3 inches. So I'm going to connect from here. From the 1 inch, I'm going to connect to the 3 inches width. And I'm going to connect from the 3 inches to the 3 inches front neck width. I'll just go ahead and give it a nice curve. Okay, so next is my shoulder. So from the center front, I'll take my shoulder measurement, divide by 2 is 7.5. I'll add half an inch for stitching allowance. So I have 8 inches. I'll come over to the yoke line. I'll also measure the same 8 inches and connect that 8 inches with a straight line. So I will come over to the shoulder. I'll drop my shoulder by 1 inch. And then I'm going to connect it to the neckline. So normally my chest line is 9 inches, including the 1 inch drop. So from the drop, I will have 8 inches. So half of it will give me 4 inches. I'll mark. So from this midline, I'll come in by half an inch and come in by 0.75 for front and back neckline. So I'm going to connect this to the tip of this and connect this to the tip of this as well. So I'll just pretend I have an armhole I want to connect to. So I'll be able to get this part the way it should be. So if you have enough fabric, just go ahead and do this up to your chest line, okay? So but this is okay. All right, so now we are going to cut what we have on this dress now. So I will cut the neckline, the back neckline. I will cut it from the zip line, adding half an inch seam allowance. I'll also add half an inch like this. So I'll come to the armhole for the back. I'm going to cut the armhole part of the back. So I'm cutting my yoke because I have added half an inch. So this is what we need. We don't need the rest of this. So I will lift up this. This is the back. This is my back. And this is the front. So the front, I'll also add half an inch to sew the turtle neckline. Then I'll now come over to the armhole, which is deeper than the other one. So our yoke is ready. So the fabric we are making use of is single. So if you want to double it, it's by choice. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm not doubling it. So I'll bring this to this and bring this to this. So I'll go ahead and stitch the neckline. Then we'll take the measure. Sewing the neckline. This is what I have for the front. So this is front and this is back. So this is the neckline I'm going to take my measurement from. So I'll place my tape from the beginning here. And I'm going to take my measurement of my neckline. So I'll just go around it like this. I'll go around it like this. So here I have 18 inches. I've already prepared my collar. So the width of my collar is 5 inches. And the length of it is 21 inches. I just added 3 inches to it. It's better I have an excess than I have a shortage. So I also folded half an inch on one side. So I will go over to my, so I'm going to sew the collar right now, starting from the zipper line. I will sew round and then fold in the 0.5 parts, and now I'm done sewing the turtle neckline, as you can see, and I gave it a good press. So now we are going to take the measurement of the front yoke part. So here I have 15 inches. So I'm going to multiply 15 by 3, which will give me 45. So that is what I'm going to use to cut out the gathered part. So from the length, I'm measuring 45 inches, as you can see. So I'm going to cut it out at 45 inches. So I'll just place it on fold so I'll be able to cut it appropriately. So after that is done, I'm going to create my border line. So I'm going to create my border line from where I'm going to take my measurement right now. So I'll create my border line. Then that is my border. So here is my border line I made. So I'll place my tape at 6 inches and measure my waistline. So the waistline where we are going to attach this is 17. But since we are going to have a band, the band, this is my actual waistline. So but there's a band attached to that dress before the down piece. So I'm going to, my band is 2 inches, so I'll mark the band here. I'm drawing the shape of the band here, although I'm not going to make the band for this dress anyway. So this is your band of 2 inches. So I'm cutting this at 16 inches. So if your waist is 17, just go ahead and cut it at 16 inches. So I'll mark it at 16 inches because we have 2 inches band there. So I'll just go ahead and cut out from the line of 16 inches. I'll just cut it out. To the line of 45. So this is going to be the part we are going to gather. So here I'll also add half an inch for stitching the upper part to the yoke. So like I said, this is the front with the 45 inches front. So I'll place it on this other for the back. So for the back, I'll just place it also here. And I'm going to cut out. So I'll also cut out because it's the same thing for front and back. So I've cut out. So here is the front, is on fold, but for the back, I'll just go ahead and split it out. So this is for the back now. So I'm going to gather the back. I'll gather the upper, gather the lower, gather the upper, gather the lower, and attach. I will do the same for the front. For the front, I'm going to gather everything for the front. Let me do that. This is what you have. I gather the up and the down. So I will come over to the front and I'll pick up the front piece like this. I'll place it like this and stitch. So I'm going to stitch from end to end. For the back too, for the back piece, I'll also place it after sewing the front. I'll place and stitch. So let me do that. So after sewing and gathering, this is the center back and here is my center front. So if you notice, you can see that I did not gather these parts. Okay, so you leave, because we have the shoulder at 8. So if your waist circumference, your bust circumference divided by 4 will give you 10 inches. Let me say bust is 40. Divided by 4 is 10 inches. So simply place your tape at 8 inches, which is what we cut for the shoulder, and measure and add your seam allowance. So for me, I'm working with 9.5. That is my bust circumference. So I'll just make my mark at 9.5. So here is my seam allowance. Then I'll place my tape here at 6 and measure my chest line. So my chest line here, from that point of 6, I have 8 inches. So you just rule your line of 8 inches. So this is for the creation of your armhole. So you now come over and create your armhole. Of course, you know how we create it. So I'll just create it like this and cut the armhole part to meet with this. So this will enable you to attach your sleeve. So I'll come over here and also repeat the same exercise. So I'll do it right now. Then we proceed to the sleeve. So for the sleeve, I'll just I'll work on one sleeve first. Okay, so I'll just fold my sleeve part like this and create my border line. So I'm going to create my border line right here. So here is my border line, and this is on fold. So I'm going to measure from that border line. You also measure 6 inches and mark. I'll make it 6.5 because we will also attach the gathered part of the sleeve. So my cap height is at 4 inches, sorry. So I'll mark. I'll find the midpoint of my cap height, which is 2 inches. So on my cap height, this is the cap height, I'm going to measure my chest line. My chest line is 9 inches plus 1 inch for seam allowance. I'll measure. So I'll get the midpoint of 10, which is 5. I'll also mark it at the center point of my cap height. So I'm going to, from the folded part, I'll just go in like this to the center line and connect my sleeve to this point. Then I'll come up by 1/2 inch. I'll measure from that line 1/2 inch for the back sleeve. So I'll just go ahead and connect it back to the shoulder line and bring it back to the cap height, my point. So here you are going to measure your round elbow, your round bicep. That is the biggest part of your arm. So my round bicep is 8 inches 16. I'll add 1 inch. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. My round bicep, the biggest part. So I'll connect it like this to form my sleeve. So before I go ahead to sew the gathered part of this sleeve, I want you to take note of something very important. This is the back piece of this sleeve, and this is the front. The part I notched is my front. So I'll just come over with the sleeve now. So this is the normal way I'm supposed to attach it. But then I'm going to make my notch here. That is at the, I'm making my notch at the shoulder seam line. So I will pretend I'm attaching this sleeve. Very important. What I'm doing here is very important. Just spread out this and align it. Okay, I think that is the best way. Just align it till it gets to this point. So once it gets to this point, you have a mark on it. You also do the same, align it till you get to this point. So this is the point at which we are going to connect our sleeve. So I will just measure now the height of this sleeve, since I've gotten where I'm going to connect them. So what I will do here is to add 1/2 inch for stitching the gathered parts, then also add 1/2 inch for stitching the gathered part. So from this 1/2 inch, I'm going to take the height. So the height will no longer be at 6 inches because it's higher now. So I'll have it at 4 inches. Then connect it like this. And do the same. Repeat the same. Okay. So this is the part we are going to add our gathers. So I don't want it to curve too much, or else I could have made the length more deeper. Okay, so I'll bend it back like this, and then I'm going to cut it out. So I'll cut it out, making sure that I have the mark where it's supposed to be. So you can just go ahead and extend the line a little bit more like this, but it has to stop at this point. So it's actually looking curvy anyway, but it's okay. So I'll come in with the other part of the sleeve and use this to cut that one. So the gathered part of this yoke, I'll now take the measurement of what I have here. From here to here is 14. So I'll multiply by 3 to get my gathered part. So I've gone ahead to cut the two of the sleeve now, and I mark the wrong part, and the wrong part is marked. So here is the front piece. So I've already cut out my length of I measured by 3, multiplied by 3. I got so I'll make it 15. In fact, I'm using 45 inches. So I'll go ahead and gather right now. So here you can see I'm done gathering it. So I'll pick up one of it now. On the right side of it, I'll go over to my machine. So if I'm gathering, I'll also leave some about 5 inches to continue the sleeve stitching. So then I'll gather on this part. Let me do that. So I'm done sewing the 2 sleeves. You can see them here. So when you are finished sewing it, just match it like this and create the armhole too. So I gathered only on this part and I left this part straight. So from here to here is about 5 inches. So just go ahead and create your armhole. So I just created it just like this. So it's just okay this way. So the next thing is the elastic casing, which I've done. So I've cut out my elastic at 15 inches because that is my bicep length. So by the time I stitch 1 inch on this side, I'll be left with 14. So I'm going to pass my elastic right now, and then we attach the sleeve. So I'm done with the elastic. You can see that on the hem part, and I've joined the sleeve too. So this is the armhole parts of the sleeve. So I also close the sides of this. So I'll go ahead now to sew this sleeve. So this is the front piece. I have my notch for the front, so this sleeve is for this. So I'll go ahead and turn my sleeve like this and insert the one that matches to it like this. So I'm going to sew from the shoulder seam line. I'll just open it now and stitch close. So after sewing the sleeve, you can see the sleeve is actually matching with the yoke. So I'm going to sew my band right now. So my band width is 3 inches. When unfold is 6 inches. So I'm going to split my band into 3 inches. Okay. So then the length of my band is my waist circumference plus 2 inches zipper allowance. So make sure you arrange your band on the waistline and stitch the first one accordingly. So I'll go over to the machine and gather it well. After sewing the band, as you can see, so I will now turn it this way again and then use this one to cover the band. So I'm going to sew this from this point, following the seam line to the end. So after stitching, this is what you are going to have. So when you cover it this way, this is the front is neat and this is the back is neat as well. So you can now go ahead and attach, if you want to attach lining or fabric separate, lining separate, or you want to attach it together. So now I'm going to sew the zip to this dress. So when you are sewing it, make sure the yoke lines matches and the band matches as well. So that is how we'll come to the end of this tutorial. I believe this class was helpful to you. So if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day. Like this video, share to family and friends, drop your comment on the comment section and your suggestions as well. Thank you once again. See you in the next class. Bye.